Ever wondered why you used to feel excited by the smallest things, and now everything just feels kinda dull? I remember when I used to laugh easily, enjoy a sunny day, get excited about reading or working on my goals. But once I got deep into the cycle of porn and compulsive masturbation, even those simple joys felt flat. Why? Because my brain was flooded with cheap dopamine every day. It got used to instant, unnatural highs, so regular life just couldn't compete anymore. In this episode, I'll share how I reset my brain's dopamine system and how that one shift made everything feel richer, deeper, and more satisfying again. No boring lectures, just real experiences, psychological tools, and practical steps. If you've ever felt numb, unmotivated, or like nothing excites you anymore, this episode might be your reset button. Welcome back to Knowle. Last episode, we talked about identity, how changing how you see yourself is the foundation for lasting recovery. Today, we're diving into your brain's reward system, because behind every compulsive behavior is dopamine. But don't worry, this isn't a biology class. This is personal. I'll take you through what dopamine really is and isn't, how porn hijacks your reward system, what dopamine fatigue actually means, how I did a mental reset without cutting off all joy, and 5 steps you can use to rewire your brain too. Let's get into it. There was a stretch in my life when nothing felt good. I'd try to work and feel zero motivation. I'd sit with friends and feel disconnected. I'd even eat my favorite food and think, meh. The only thing that gave me a spike was porn. And right after that spike, guilt, emptiness, shame. Then the craving for another hit, just to feel something. I knew something deeper was off. So I started reading, journaling, and observing myself. And I realized my brain had become addicted to extremes. Too many hours of overstimulation had rewired what pleasure meant. I couldn't enjoy the slow, real things anymore. That was the first time I said, this isn't just about quitting porn. This is about healing my brain. So I began what I now call my dopamine detox. Not by living like a monk, but by making small, consistent changes that brought my natural motivation back online. And today, I'll walk you through how I did it. Let's simplify this. Dopamine equals desire. It's not pleasure itself. It's the motivation to pursue something you believe will feel good. When you flood your brain with hyper-stimulating content, like porn, here's what happens. Your brain releases a huge amount of dopamine. Your receptors get overwhelmed. Over time, they become less sensitive. This is called dopamine desensitization. Think of it like shouting in a room. If you shout every day, eventually people stop listening unless you shout louder. Same with your brain. It stops responding to normal dopamine. You need more extreme stimulation just to feel the same effect. And when you don't get it, you feel flat, bored, restless, depressed, unable to focus. That's why normal life feels dull when you're deep in the addiction cycle. But here's the good news. Your brain is plastic. That means it can rewire if you give it the right conditions. And no, you don't have to quit everything fun. You just have to start enjoying things that give natural, long-term dopamine instead of the fake, instant kind. Let's talk about how I did that. How I reset my system. Here's my 5-step dopamine reset method based on what worked for me and grounded in real neuroscience. 1. I removed the obvious spikes. For a while. I cut out porn, social media scrolling, junk food binges, loud, chaotic content. Not forever, but just long enough to clear the fog. I gave my brain space to crave real stimulation again. 2, I made boredom my friend. this was tough, but I leaned into doing nothing without reaching for a screen. At first, it felt like withdrawal, but slowly, my brain began to notice things again, like the way the light hits the wall, the sound of birds, the simple peace of deep breathing. 3. I reintroduced natural highs. Instead of cutting off all joy, I replaced fake highs with healthy ones. Walks in nature, playing music, deep conversations, learning new things, small creative projects. These gave me dopamine too, but in a way that didn't crash later. 4. I protected my mornings. I stopped checking my phone for the first 90 minutes. Why? Because that morning spike, emails, texts, social media, would hijack my day. Instead, I journaled, moved my body, or read. It set the tone for clarity instead of chaos. 5. I celebrated small wins. Every time I resisted an urge, I celebrated. Not with fake rewards, but with pride. That reinforced the idea that discipline feels good. And over time, the cravings faded and motivation returned. Think of it like this. Imagine your brain is a radio. Porn turned the volume up so loud you couldn't hear the soft, beautiful songs underneath. When you unplug the noise, the subtle joys return. One day, I sat under a tree with no music, no phone, just me, and I felt peace. Not excitement, not stimulation, but peace. And it hit me. This is the feeling I was chasing all along. I just didn't know how to get it. That's what dopamine healing does. It makes the real world beautiful again. So I'll leave you with this. What's one fake dopamine source you can replace today with something more nourishing? You don't have to quit everything at once. Just choose one thing to replace. Replace scrolling with journaling. Replace loud noise with a walk. Replace late-night binging with deep rest. Drop a comment and share your swap. Let's build a list of ideas together, because healing doesn't mean removing joy. It means reclaiming it. In the next episode, we'll talk about sexual energy and how I learned to channel it into focus, creativity, and confidence instead of wasting it. This is where recovery becomes powerful, not just avoiding something harmful, but transforming it into something extraordinary. Can't wait to share that with you.